Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the September 28th meeting of the Board of Health. If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Let's see, we're going to go with our appearances first. Tobacco violation, Cumberland Farms. If you'll come to the podium, please. Introduce yourself and the reason you're here.
Hello, I am Cheryl Titus. I'm the store manager of the Cumberland Farms on Kelly Boulevard, and I am here for a tobacco violation.
Okay, Anne Marie, if you will.
Yes, so.
Hold on just a second.
Okay, if you look under tab 1, second page, we received a letter from MHOA because they are part of the Massachusetts Tobacco Cessation and Prevention Program, and they do tobacco retail inspection compliance checks as part of the FDA. And after a compliance check, they were found to have a sale to a minor. The FDA has sent a warning letter, and we are just, I asked her to attend, or a representative, just to speak to this and, you know, what their plans are to prevent this from occurring in the future.
Okay.
Okay.
So our Cumberland Farms has a system called the Knowledge Zone, where every new hire, anything like this that ever happens, does have to go into the system. They do have to, you know, follow the rules that we have to card people under the age of 40, all of that. The kid that this happened to actually was 30 days. He did end up leaving right after that. So thank you. But we do have the BARS program that comes into our store as well, which we have to obviously get green cards, red cards, that sort of thing. I've never gotten a red card, so I don't, you know, it happens, I guess, but we do card everybody. And
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
How many violations has the location had?
so this is my second meeting, but the first meeting that I came, it was, I don't know, during COVID, I believe.
It's like
Okay.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago?
And it was also, if I may, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, but it was also an FDA compliance check in which a sale to a minor.
Sure.
So the local inspections at this point in compliance checks have been okay, but this, is, you know, it's
Yeah.
happening, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you understand the importance of this. I know
Yes.
the company does, I realize. And, you know, to be perfectly honest with you, I personally have an issue with a system that does not put the responsibility on the offending party. Unfortunately, there's no way for us to really do that. So,
Right.
you know, obviously the buck stops here. Dan, you have anything to add at this point?
What were the circumstances of this specific violation?
I guess the person came in, I don't know who they were. I don't, because obviously they do everything all secret. They came in and they asked for, I think it was a Juul or an e-cigarette or something. Yeah, and they looked under 40, and my employee at the time, he didn't ask for an ID.
Again, you know, fortunately for you, it was an FDA compliance check.
Yep.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, all I can say is, you know, continue to do the things you're doing. I know that, you know, by and large, most of our tobacco retailers do the best they can paying attention.
Yep.
I appreciate you coming in, and I hope that I hope that we don't see you too often.
Me either.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Next up, Deutsche Bank and Steve Bankert. So Deutsche Bank, Steve's not here, obviously. Again, if you'll come to the podium, state your name, the reason you're here.
Good evening. My name's Carl Fumarola. I am the attorney for Deutsche Bank, who is the owner of this property. Just some background, my client foreclosed on the property, and Mr. Bankert used to be the owner, and he still resides there. And so there was a corrective order about a year ago, and my client was here, and then we made the corrections after that, and so this is another issue. And so for the correction order that's been issued now, this current one, it should be withdrawn for two reasons. We're not subject to the sanitary code in these circumstances, and even if we are, we're in compliance with it. So Mr. Bankert, he's a squatter. He has no legal right to be in the property. A year ago, last September, the Housing Court issued a judgment for possession in favor of my client that's attached to our appeal papers. And it expressly finds that Mr. Bankert, he's not a tenant and he has no right to possess the property. The state sanitary code specifically applies to properties that are owner-occupied or properties that are rented to another for occupancy. This property, so for example, it wouldn't apply if you rent out property for someone to store goods, for someone not to reside in. It wouldn't apply to property that's vacant and unoccupied, and wouldn't apply to a property like this one with someone's unlawfully squatting in it against a Superior Court judgment. And this case, it has an open housing court matter. Mr. Bankert would be free to file a motion with the housing court to take action for these issues, but he hasn't done that, and the housing court's not going to indulge him because these are minor issues, and it knows that has no right to be in the property. And about this being minor issues, he has no right. He's unlawfully occupying in it. If he wants a place with a fresh paint job with nice new hardwood floors, we're not going to give it to him. He can move out to another place, which brings me to my second point. The issues in this, they're not health or safety or structural issues. After the last correction order that was 9 months or a year ago or so, my client spent $25,000 and put on a new roof, and then another $13,000, so it would be $38,000 total to address the various other issues.
Wow.
And everything else, as far as I can tell and see in the order, it's really cosmetic. There's some stains, not from active leaks, but some stains that must have missed when our contractor was there painting. I can tell you, my house has probably more stains than what was shown in the photos. There's nothing in these concerns, in these violation notices where it's not watertight or structurally sound. There's something about the floor. Yeah, it's plywood floor, but the plywood floor doesn't look rotten. I don't think that there's any right to have nice new hardwood floors and carpets installed. There's no allegation that these floors are subject to collapse. All we want to provide for Mr. Bankert, who has no right to be there, is just hardwood floors until he's out. I'm sorry, plywood floors. It's not a health or safety issue. And then, if this is just never going to end, there's always going to be maintenance issues if we indulge him here in this case. And I want to just make it clear that my client doesn't have a problem with the town. If the circumstances were different, we'd be happy to be making violations. Making corrections. You saw that we corrected it last time after you upheld the order to the tune of $38,000. And we just think that this is an abuse of the system to require any more work under these circumstances. And so you know the status of the legal proceeding. Mr. Bankert appealed the housing court judgment, and that's going through the appeal process now, and we see no reason why it wouldn't be upheld. And then at that point, we can get the sheriff's office to move him out. I'm happy to answer any questions.
You just answered the one I had.
What are the current violations?
There's the owner's responsibility to maintain structural issues, so there's the water staining and cracking on the ceiling. And then it's the same with the floor, where it's a plywood floor. It's not a, there's no like rug or tile or something in between it. And that's what we have on this order right now.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, please.
I did just include in the packet, as we had last time towards the end, that, as we had discussed before, the Department of Public Health does speak to the scope, which has to do about occupying, not necessarily address the legality. And we know that sometimes that does put hardship on owners of properties, but that is what the regulations state. And then, as Brian mentioned, you know, the code is to maintain the structural elements and having a flooring of some type of flooring. We don't require specific as a hardwood but some type of flooring needs to be on top of the plywood. That does not meet code.
Oh, so,
So this is the state. I know, there's a lot of information.
specifically, Brian, what, you mentioned the hardwood floor, the plywood floor. And that,
Oh, and is the water staining on the ceiling and some
Staining.
cracks in the ceiling from probably when the roof was leaking at the time.
so there is no more water leaking as far as you know?
I don't think so. It looks like it was just ones that weren't corrected after the first violation. It might have just been skipped because they weren't pictures on the original violation.
If I may, Mr. Bates, so this is just a follow-up on the first original correction order, things that hadn't been completed from the first. He resent that out. We thought that perhaps there was a misunderstanding because the only items that had been corrected were what was in the pictures, while other staining and cracks that were in the area. And so we tried to make it clear that the pictures are merely to give a
Illustrative,
snapshot, right, of what was there, so.
Okay. So there were any number of items, if correct, on the
Right.
original order?
Yes, they
Needed
did correct the deck, they did correct some of those structural things, they did do the roof. It really, at this point, what Brian has in there is just repairing the cracks and the staining, putting a surface down over the plywood to, you know, make it safe. And then, let's see, was there
Oh, there is a third on there.
a light, right, light
Yep.
and passageways?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would be in the front.
Okay.
Here, I can give you my copy.
All right. Thank you. I ask, what specifically are you asking for?
Just to maintain the status quo. We did all of the repairs before. We did replace the roof, brand new roof on the whole house.
Yeah.
New deck, something with the outdoors, like the landscape steps, painted and did plaster work. It was something, it cost $13,000. I have like the
Yeah, I
list
got
of
you.
everything that was done.
So-
So what we want to do is maintain the, if there's a couple of places with a stain on the ceiling, there's no active water leaks, it's not creating a health or safety issue. That's the point. And it's only one small area where I guess in a hallway somewhere where there's no flooring. It would be, Mr. Bankert can put down a rug, and what's to say, okay, we come in tomorrow and we put down an area rug there, that he throws it out, and then, what, we have a problem again?
Are we in general agreement as far as what's remaining then?
No. You'll get it
Yeah, you
tonight.
could, you
your
could go
chance.
next. I have the photos. It looks like there's one area on the hallway that just has plywood floor. If he wants to put
Well, that's
down
what I'm saying.
a
We-
runner in the hallway, he can do that.
We're calling out the hardwood floor, the plywood floor, and the crack in the whatever the ceiling is today. Those are the two items
Yes.
that we have. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes, I'm in agreement. I don't think there are any other issues.
Lighting, I think.
All right, if you'll take a seat temporarily, Mr. Bankert, if you'll please come to the podium, state your name. and reason
Stephen
you're here.
Bankert, 42 Pratt Lane. I'm sorry I'm late. I only heard the second half of what he said, but thankfully, it's kind of a misrepresentation. It's not as nefarious on our part as it sounds. The room without a floor is the bathroom, not a hallway. The crack in the ceiling was there. It was on the first order to fix the ceilings. The contractor had the entire list from the Board of Health, but he said, I'm only authorized to do a few of the things on the list, not all of it. No other contractor showed up to do the rest of the list. But they were on the first order. So they just ignored the first order. There's a big section of the deck that's still spongy. You can't stand on it. As a matter of fact, there's holes in it, and you can go through. They did do 3 stairs that need to be done, but they did not replace a whole deck. As a matter of fact, they avoided replacing the entire deck area that needed the deck done. The stains in the ceiling are new after the roof was done, and obviously there's something wrong. So even just the roofer under his own warranty should be coming back to take care of those. There's a water leak that we got in that horrendous rainstorm we had the other day in the front hall. I have a video of it. We put our dog down this week, so I did not get ready for this meeting like I wanted to. It was a tumultuous week, to say the least, because there was sickness before that. So I missed that. But there's also a squirrel living in our attic. There's a huge hole. I've tried to plug it a couple of times. I sent Mr. McCracken pictures of it. I sent them to the landlord, and basically the landlord could care less. So we have a squirrel. We named him Gene because we don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but he lives in the attic. The hole is in right where they worked on the roof. So that couldn't have been there before they did the roof. It had to happen after they did the roof. I'm sorry.
Now, let me ask you a question. You're calling the bank the landlord. Are you paying rent?
Yes, I am, every month.
Is that true?
And the...
Wait a minute, let him answer.
Oh,
Simple question.
The court ordered him to pay what's called use and occupancy as a condition of maintaining
That's-
the appeal.
That's all I needed to know. Go ahead.
okay. So, this order was before the housing court, and the housing court basically already has ruled that this order from the Board of Health, which was issued, I think, back in December, needed to be completed. So for him to say we should go to the housing court, we've already been there. If we go back, the judge is going to say, I already ruled on this. Finish the list. So all I'm asking is that the Board of Health force them to finish the list. It's all fun and games to say, I'm the landlord, but then when the responsibility comes, it looks horrible for him to say, well, you know, we're the landlord, but we don't want to do anything. And that's basically what's going on
I
here.
think you're paraphrasing it far too much.
Yeah.
I know I am.
It's not called for.
I'm sorry.
I got an issue with both sides of it.
Have we seen any paperwork from housing court?
They have included some paperwork that I included in the packet.
Yeah, this is,
That was submitted by Nelson Mullins that just speaks to that. But I did not request any because I wasn't
right, well,
not
oh,
sure.
wait a minute, yes.
Right.
So there is something in here, but when is this?
Oh, I see it.
But,
Yeah, there's no date on it. Oh, wait a minute. Evidentiary hearing on October 26th. half ago. No, a year ago. Good Lord. All right. Do you know what, could you provide a summary of what?
So in summary, we have a correction order that has not been completed to the requirements that we have requested. We have the difference here where the lawyers feel that they have completed, they feel that it's completed and ask that they not be held to completion of that. And then Mr. Bankett is asking for the correction order to be upheld.
Well, there's the two items that we were talking about. I'm going to have to ask you, it's best if you go to the mic. We need to record responses and so on. Those two items were on the original list, I believe. The two items we've been speaking about.
What I understand that we're here for is the May 3rd correction order that pertains to a couple of stains on the ceiling, and there's a small area, apparently it's a bathroom, where there's, it's just plywood. There's no floor there.
Right.
And then there's something about a light, but I don't really know what that is, but the last correction order, I believe we satisfied it. We put on a new roof and did numerous other.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that, but so there are two items that are remaining to be done.
So I'm sorry.
Three, yep.
I need to interrupt. There also has to do, there is some rooms, Brian made a note in the bottom that the egress room lights aren't working as well as the lights outside of the doorways, and that is a requirement. And Brian can speak, you know.
Yeah, so the floor with the bathroom has to have impervious material on it, so it can't be plywood, because water and everything can go into it, so it's just part of the code, especially for like bathrooms and kitchens and that sort of thing. And then the lights on the outside, so like right outside of an egress door, there has to be a light that works, and then in the inside, like a hallway, each room has to have at least one working light, so the light, when you first walk in, doesn't work. That's just an explanation of those two things.
Okay. All right,
And
since we've come down to two items, is there a problem with Deutsche Bank not completing those two items?
well, our primary argument is that it doesn't apply. We don't have a duty to do this. He's illegally residing in the property against a housing
I
court judgment.
understand that.
So that's it. I don't know the nature of the lights, if it's just needs a new light bulb in it. You know, I don't know. But the main issue is we shouldn't have to do this. He has no right to be in the property. We're not a landlord. He's not a tenant. Yes, he's paying what's called use and occupancy, which is basically a bond that postpones, that allows him to stay there a little longer before the sheriff moves him out. Because we have a judgment that gives my client a right to the property, so he has to pay something to keep detaining the property from my client. That's what that is. It's not rent. We're not a landlord. We never were.
Jay, what do you think?
I see a statement in this letter dated May 9th, 2023, that says, because the state sanitary code only applies to properties that are owner-occupied or let to another for occupancy. And I'm curious as to where that statement comes from.
That's we didn't attach it. I don't think we attached it, but it's cited right there. So it's 105 CMR 410.010. And that's a quote from it. That's an exact quote. So it has to be a property that you own or you rent out to another to live in. It's not a property where you have it unoccupied and somebody breaks in and squats there. Not saying that he broke in, but he doesn't have a legal right to be there. He was never a renter from us. There's never a lease. Housing codes, there's case law that says that the sanitary code applies to with someone you have a rental agreement with them. We never had that here.
Mr. Chairman, on the same document that he quoted, which I do have a copy in your packet, and that is there under the scope, but under the purposes, it's to protect the health, safety, and well-being of the occupants of the housing and of the general public. It's, you know, it is general. The page before that, we do say that from Cheryl Sabara, while it says that, while it talks about the mortgagor, the current housing code applies to occupants, including any person who is allowed to occupy the property. So
Okay.
until such time as he is evicted or, you know, asked to leave, the housing code does apply, and
Given that,
the correction
Okay.
order should be upheld.
like you're saying, if he's allowed to maintain a residence there, and in this case, unless I'm mistaken, he's allowed by Deutsche Bank to stay there.
It's under appeal, I
It's under
believe
appeal, so-
it's under
Yeah, I
appeal,
suppose.
so.
Could you repeat again the specifics of the bond that he's currently paying?
Yeah, so how it works is, if, once you have a judgment granting you the right to a property, basically his due process right is over, he's had his constitutional right to be heard, and so then at that point, it's, my client owns it, and so if he wants to continue with the legal, I mean, they have a right to possess it, and so if he wants to continue with the legal process and deprive my client of it, then he has to pay. And what that pay for as a condition of his appeal. If he doesn't pay this bond, or it's called use and occupancy,
Yep.
then his appeal will be dismissed, and then 10 days later, the sheriff can move him out. We get an execution.
So would paying the bond to extend the legal process and keep him in this appeals limbo, for lack of better legal jargon, still entitle the code to be enforced?
No, because it's a specific legal term. It's not rent that he's paying, it's use and occupancy. It's basically just for him to hold over in it. It doesn't grant him.
Except that it's use and occupancy, and the purpose of the sanitary code is, is to protect the health, safety, and well-being of the occupants of housing and of the general public. So the argument that he's not supposed to be there, therefore he doesn't have any rights, the simple fact is, yes, he is an occupant. And he's paying for that right now, especially right now. Previously, I'm not sure that was happening, but it is happening now. And as a result, this board, I mean, as far as I am concerned, and we'll take a vote in a little while to make that decision, but I think that we would be remiss in our duty as a Board of Health if we were to not uphold the current order of correction.
Can I just make one?
My opinion.
Can I just make one more point?
Sure.
And this goes to what your point is about how your duty of the board is to uphold the health and safety and all of that. And that's why, in these circumstances, typically what the housing court does is, it's only like this extreme violation. It's not a bright line rule. It's the extreme health and safety. Like, so for example, if there was no heat and hot water, then in that circumstance, I would have less of an objection, because it goes to health and safety and those kind of things. If it's a ticky-tack, there's a stain on the ceiling that wants to be painted, I don't think he has a right to that.
Look, I understand where you're coming from. I get that. But I would be surprised to find any housing court that's going to pick and choose what parts of the sanitary code are enforceable and what are not. It's the sanitary code. It is laid out in black and white on a lot of pages, and I don't know of any court that's gonna say, yeah, okay, so yeah, we'll uphold this one, yeah, we're not gonna uphold this one, and we're gonna uphold, I don't think that's gonna happen. And again, I think as a board, our responsibility is the letter of this law. And we've already issued a correction order. And again, I think that our responsibility is to uphold that.
I think the basic, when it comes down to, when you boil the extraneous stuff away, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's what I think.
We don't, like the housing court that doesn't, we don't have a choice either.
Correct. Do you have anything else to add to this?
No.
Okay, Don?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna call for a vote. I'll accept the motion.
I move that we vote to uphold the correction order dated April 27th, 2023.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. All right. Brian, I think you're all set. You can blow this clam bake.
Thank you.
All right? Have a good weekend.
You too, guys.
Let's see.
See ya.
Next up, Cigar City. I'm assuming that this is in response to the letter from about Kratom. So,
It is.
okay.
Yeah, my name's Sakshi. I'm from Cigar City. Here for obviously the prohibition of selling kratom. I received an email from Anne Marie that the first thing she said that she was disappointed to hear that our location has been selling kratom for past 2 years. State and town both have done inspections at our locations all the time. The product has been wide open. I was very confused with the whole email about the disappointment because the product is federally legal in the United States. It is legal in the state of Massachusetts. No town, no county does not have a ban on kratom in Massachusetts as of right now. In the future, there's no pending state or House bill that can jeopardize its current status. There is 6 states that do have a ban on kratom, and she had mentioned that Rhode Island's one of them. Rhode Island actually on June 12th the House has voted in favor of legalizing kratom, which is now actually in the Senate. I personally do not believe that this product is a substance. We never sold Delta 8, Delta 9, all those THC products because we knew that that product was specifically in FDA's controlled substance list. But FDA has this product listed as a dietary ingredient. So DEA and the FDA both tried back in 2018 because obviously there were issues in 2018 because what really happened was people mixed, which they said it was kratom powder, which came in Ziploc bags with no signs, no warnings, no company name. So we didn't really know what was in the product itself. The products we sell in the store comes from exactly from the company. It states all the warning signs, where it brands, where it's manufactured, and has every possible thing that it needs to have. Then the other thing is you can buy this product online, even on Amazon actually, and it will ship right to your door in North Attleboro, and it does not even require an ID. So, especially when we are actually dealing with this in our business, we actually ID people, look into we don't want to get into wrong people's hands or anything. So yeah, back in 2018, DEA and FDA tried to ban this. They were successful because they were able to relate, because obviously deaths happen. But right now, there is not a single associated death that has happened strictly from kratom. There is no scientific evidence that can prove that. People who did die were doing opioid or something related to it, or something was involved in the product. So obviously, DEA and FDA got a lot of heat from the public, and they could not scientifically prove that this product is considered a substance. So they tried to pursue, but the courts didn't want to hear it. And I believe that is one of the main reasons why state or county has not tried to go after it, because they do not have evidence and it's not going to hold in court. I just believe the product is not a substance. Helps with just pain reliever, because if it was such a bad product, anything like something it would cause, like if we're placing it in drugs, it cannot just be bought online as simple and then just be coming to residents of North Attleboro or to any town in Massachusetts. We've been selling it. I mean, honestly, we have had stores that we've been selling for past 5 years, no complaints. I don't think there has been a complaint about something happening from Kratom. We've been like, it's nothing that like we getting same customers every day. We try our best to like not, obviously it becomes like, I wouldn't use the word addictive, just like how you need your tea, coffee, caffeine products every day. You mix it with the thing and it just helps you with like your fatigueness and anxiety and like sleep, or like just giving you some energy. So yes, if the product was listed as a substance, I would be actually scared to have it in my business, because I don't want to be in trouble, because I've seen people selling substance in the store and seeing how much trouble they have been. A lot of towns in Mass had Delta 8 and Delta 9 right on their shelves the whole time. But I knew that the product was a substance, and I know how North Attleboro works, because like we care about our residents at the same time. So I didn't want to get involved in any of that, so we never actually even touch any of the products. But Kratom, we talked with the state officials, town, they said, yeah, you're fine. I had a meeting with the tobacco inspector, he knew about it, and state, like every time they pay a visit, they never objected to any of
I
this.
think we understand.
So that's all I have to say, and I think that's it. That's all I could say.
All right.
But if we do try to regulate, my other question, we do try to regulate this product, and if you want to ban this product, how are you going to stop these online sales? And how is it going to stop coming in North Attleboro?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Is this all part of
I'm
it?
Shaban Asgar from 120 South Washington Street, and I'm not gonna say anything. He said everything what I want to say.
That's why you let him go first, right? All right, thank you.
Can we ask how long he's been selling? I was
I
just
didn't hear a word you
curious, how
said.
long have you been selling the product in your store for?
Since we first opened, because anytime
Well, I meant Sam's, because you were very clear. And how long? How long have you been selling that?
It's been a while, Anne Marie.
Why?
been a
No,
while.
I know. I just wanted to know how long.
5 to 8 years, somewhere in there. I've seen it in the stores,
And I do remember sometimes customer telling me, oh, your prices are higher. You can buy this online cheaper than you. So we just want to get aware of that. It's
Well, no.
available on your fingertips.
Excuse me, number one, the sales online is something over which we have absolutely no control over.
Yes.
So,
The only way that could be dealt with would be a state ban on shipping that substance to the state. That would be the only way to stop and that would only be effective to a point. There's always a way around those things.
right.
Actually, I have another, just want to make another point. There's distributors out there that would just send us Kratom products into our stores in Mass as a sample, and I don't even know where it's coming from, but the company name and logo would be there. So sometime eventually in the future that this does that, okay, we do try to remove it from the stores, I do not have any control on them not sending this product into my store. Those samples are always going to arrive. So that's also another thing to like think about.
That's another one that we have no control over.
Yeah.
I guess for both of you, and I know you don't have specific spreadsheets in front of you, but guesstimate, how often would you say these are purchased?
So I can, my business, which opened 2 years ago, I would say we probably, I don't have a specific number, but I would say with all the customers, it's just probably about, I'm not even doing $100 in sales for that product, specific product in a day.
Okay.
I have a small smoke shop in the corner, you know, so like $100 is pretty much nothing where we're selling like cigarettes, which is probably like thousands of dollars. Yeah. It's expensive, so it's not that people will just really come and like
Sure.
try to abuse or like overdo it.
It's like $30-40 a bag.
Okay.
Yeah, it's expensive.
So
And how often do you sell, roughly?
It's like $150.
Okay.
Shoot, where is it?
And,
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your input. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, no, there
Oh,
there
yeah.
may be.
Well, I actually think that we should not vote tonight.
I was leaning the same,
I would like to do some more research.
yeah, me too.
Are you going to read Mike's letter?
Yes, I will, yes, I will read. This is the letter that we sent out to, are you talking about that? Which letter were you talking about?
Mike Board's letter, that he requested it be read at the meeting and taken
Oh,
into...
Mike's letter. Oh,
and
yes.
taken
Okay,
into
yep.
consideration.
Yep, yep.
You want me to read it then?
Yeah, you can read it if you'd like.
We're,
It's right here.
oh, thank you. All right, dated September 28th, 2023, to the North Attleboro Board of Health, from Mike Board, our town manager. Dear members of the North Attleboro Board of Health, I am writing to express my strong support for the removal of Kratom from the shelves of all local retailers in our community. As the town manager of North Attleboro, it's my duty to prioritize health and safety of our residents, and I believe that taking action to restrict the availability of Kratom is a critical step in ensuring the well-being of our community members. Kratom, a tropical tree native to Southeast Asia, has gained popularity as a herbal substance in recent years. However, it has also been associated with a range of serious health risks and concerns. I would like to emphasize several key reasons why I believe it is essential to take this provocative measure. 1. Public health concerns. Kratom has been linked to various adverse health effects, including seizures, respiratory depression, nausea, and addiction. There have been numerous reports of individuals experiencing harmful side effects after using Kratom products. Number 2, lack of regulation. Kratom is not regulated by the FDA in the same way as pharmaceuticals, meaning there is little oversight of its production and distribution. This lack of regulation raises concerns about product quality and safety. Number 3, potential for abuse. Kratom has addictive properties, and there have been instances of individuals developing a dependency on it. This poses a significant risk to public health, as addiction can lead to serious social and economic consequences. Number 4, youth exposure. Kratom is easily accessible in many local retailers, making it accessible to our youth. The availability of Kratom in our community poses a risk of underage consumption, which can have serious consequences for our young residents' health and development. Number 5, legal precedent. Many states and municipalities across the United States have already taken legal action to regulate or ban Kratom due to safety concerns. By following suit, we will be aligning with the growing concerns on the dangers associated with the substance. Given these concerns and potential risks to the health and well-being of our residents, I believe it is prudent for the North Attleboro Board of Health to take action to restrict the sale of Kratom within our community. I urge you to consider implementing policies that will remove Kratom from the shelves of local retailers. I understand the importance of balancing individual freedom and choice with the need to protect public health. However, in this case, the evidence of harm associated with Kratom use is substantial, and the potential benefits of its removal from our community outweigh any potential drawbacks. I am ready and willing to support the Board of Health in any way possible as you deliberate on this matter and work to safeguard the health and well-being of our residents. Thank you for your attention to this critical issue, and look forward to continued dedication to the safety and prosperity of North Attleboro. Very respectfully, Michael D. Board, Town Manager.
Thank you. Anne Marie?
If I may, I know this is taking it out of order in respect to the statement that he said that there is no proof of an association of deaths. There is proof. And I also included in your packet in the beginning of tab 8, we received a call from a mother who wrote very specifically about the loss of her 22-year-old son who died from ingestion of kratom powder and had an autopsy that proved that there was no other substances that had been associated, no other drugs, no other medications associated with it. She also includes some information, of course. I know that there is literature on both sides of the subject, but includes a lot of that information there, and she is also a member of the group Kratom Danger Awareness. So
No, sorry, he's a member of what?
a group called Kratom Danger Awareness. So of people who have lost loved ones to kratom, approximately 300 deaths, and others at various stages of kratom addiction and recovery. So and I did include that information for you, that we only did receive that call yesterday. So I put that in your packet, and
Yeah,
I
got it.
think I may have forwarded it to you.
I just have a quick question at that specific topic you mentioned. When you said that they died from kratom, did it include the brand and like the warning labels and signs? Because I read a similar case where somebody was granted $11 million lawsuit that they actually won against kratom, but that was strictly about the product, which did not carry, just once again, any labels or something. It was called some product called Space Dust, where it's like handwritten and people just add it in, add the powder itself, and they were actually selling it in the stores. And that still actually to this date happens in like some towns in Massachusetts. So I was just curious about like if it had like the product name with like warning labels or sign, or it's just like a powder that they took, which we didn't really know what's in that.
Honestly, I could not speak
Okay.
to that. I appreciate you asking, but
Yeah.
it is directly related to kratom, and had included that, so.
Okay. Also, I don't know if the board's interested, because I reached out to the American Kratom Association when I heard about this, and they sent me this sheet. So this is what they have been going against FDA, so it may be helpful to you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And this is the proof for the Rhode Island, like they're trying to reverse the ban.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yep.
I will, we'll take consensus. I would like to put this off till our next meeting. Only so that I can, personally, so I can do a little bit more research. What is your feeling on this?
Of course. If that's, yeah, absolutely.
All right, Dan.
There's
That's
no
what I was-
harm in,
All right, then
That's
I
what I was
would like to
leaning toward.
move this to our next meeting, and we'll put it at the top of the agenda.
what's the date of the next meeting?
October 10th?
The date ought to be in the motion, that's all. And
It's October 10th, 2023 at North
Alright.
TV.
Adding that to the measure, I will second
Okay.
the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we will take this up on the 10th, and at that time, we will discuss whatever information we have come up with individually. Look at it'll give us time to look at the regulation, and I think we should be ready to make a decision that night.
Yep, absolutely.
Sounds good to
All
me.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, I appreciate your input.
Thank you.
All right. Rob, you're up.
Hey, I'm up. Hey, it's my August report. Perk testing, I actually didn't have any.
No?
None. I know, slow, I know. Inspections, I did 50 Stanley Street, 643 Allen Ave, and 53 Newell Drive with Rick Deppish. System plan reviews, 47 West Barn Road, 232 Ellis, 18 George Street, 53 Newell Drive, and 50 Stanley Street. Food and retail inspections. The Flip Circus was in town back in August, from August 18th to the 28th. I don't know if you guys caught that. I was unable to get there, for the show, I meant. But I did the inspection. Applebee's, the Branches Assisted Living Facility, Habibi's Middle Eastern Restaurant, Shaw's, Frisbee's Dairy Barn, Halligan's Pub, the Oven Essence, the Shogun Hibachi and Asian Garden, the Town Tavern and Tap, the Whisk and Paddle Bakery, Douglas Liquors, and Triborough Golf Station were done in the month of August.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Rob?
No, it's complete.
Nothing from me.
I would motion that we accept the Assistant Health Agent's report for August 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Nice to be seen, too. Complaint log. Anything new and exciting on the complaint log?
It's upside down. Good night.
Night, Rob.
Take it easy, Rob. Thank you.
You know, a lot of what Brian had been focusing on had to do with water damage.
Yeah.
Calls, you know, yeah, to work out. Also rats and trash, and, you know, it's that time of the year. They're probably starting to look and becoming more active as they're preparing for the winter.
Heather, if you're watching, I think we have to pay attention to the, which way you flip the page when
Yeah,
you
I-
print.
Formatting.
Noticing that.
'Cause we got one right side up, we got one upside down, we got one right side up. But
It's-
anyway.
It's the, with the move to our temporary
Yeah,
office.
I'm sure, yeah.
The, yeah,
I'm just,
the
we're
copy
just
machine.
taking the few opportunities I have to give her a hard time. so.
Yes, yes. I actually did take it out of my packet for that reason.
All right,
No questions, I'm sure
other than that,
that's a busy
nothing
time.
new and exciting?
No, fortunately.
Okay, well, that's, hey,
Fortunately, there was no complaint at the town hall with the flooding there, so we didn't have to follow through on that.
Oh, good,
No
good.
mold, mildew, so that's a good thing.
all right. Anybody have any other questions on the,
Not I.
No,
okay?
I'm all set.
Then we will move on to administrative approval of the minutes. Anybody have any?
Jay, how about resident community comment? What was
We don't have anybody here, so I
Oh,
figure we
that's-
can
I'm
probably
sorry.
skip that.
the...
I'm
Unless
sorry.
anyone has
I'm a
any
little
other.
dense tonight. Meeting minutes. I move that we accept the meeting minutes of August 8th, 2023.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. We'll move on to financial budget. I'd like to read into the record the following Health Department payrolls for the pay week ending 8/5/2023 totaling $13,405.70. 8/19/2023 totaling $13,470. And 9/2/2023 totaling $13,443.31. That was signed by the department head on behalf of the board. I would like to read into the record the following expenditures. $10,241.74 signed on 8/15/2023, and $19,431.43 signed on 9/6/2023 by the department head on behalf of the board. These numbers are high because we are the Health Alliance distributor, and so of that first one, there was $9,600 and some odd dollars, part of the Public Health Alliance grant. And in this, out of the second one, there was $18,730, part of the Health Alliance, Public Health Alliance grant. The rest of these were beach testing, pantry and office supplies, certified mail, et cetera. Okay, moving on, new business. We've heard from some of the public on the Kratom regulation. We are going to take the next couple of weeks to gather some more information, look over the regulation, and I believe we will be able to take a vote on October 10th. Next up, permanent makeup discussion, microblading.
So, Mr. Chairman and Board, I just included, we have had requests occasionally regarding microblading and regulations. It is something that is regulated in other communities. It is something that does take more experienced people with many hours. There is some concern that there may be issues, scarring and information like that. So for your perusal and your light reading, along with the other reading, we just put in, certainly not anything that the board has to decide to make a regulation, but it's something that I wanted to bring to your attention, that we may want to consider either not allowing it or having regulations doing that. And so actually Brian helped me out, and he included what you have in the packet, regulations from Lowell, regulations from Taunton, and Boston regulations that speak to microblading and the areas that may be impacted.
Do we need a regulation since Massachusetts has a regulation?
Well, yeah, Massachusetts doesn't have a specific, they have some requirements that they require those who are doing microblading. So this is just a summation for you that I looked up to find what do we have. And so I put that information there. It's not regulated, unfortunately.
Do you feel it should be?
I think it might be wise for us to have a regulation within our body art. We do have, body art tattooing regulations. We could potentially add an addendum rather than a specific entire.
Makes sense.
If the board so chooses, after some review. And that way, if the board chooses to allow it, that we could put specifics on the manner in which and what kind of training that they should.
Okay.
So.
Alrighty. Sounds good to me.
All right. Let's see, where we get here. And debris management, I'm assuming
Yes.
this is in response to the recent
Right.
flooding.
And actually, I apologize, it should have been under the director's report as just a topic of
Oh,
interest.
okay, then we
Rather
can-
than, I will be happy to
Well, you're
speak
gonna be-
very briefly.
You're gonna be up next anyway.
I'm gonna just keep talking anyway, so I might as well, right? So, and I put on the agenda just informational only, and it was just merely to say that the town with the flooding, as you know, so many residents were impacted, their basements and materials, and had to get rid of items in their basement and drywall and, a lot of materials, and that the town set up a debris management location on the old Kutoy site. I believe that's what it's called, something farm site. DPW and solid waste set up trailers up there, as well as at the solid waste site. They did ensure that they emptied what the containers not trailers, containers to be able to store it. And it's a more complicated process than you would think. They're not just allowed to say, oh, this is a really good idea, so we're just going to do it. They have to go, solid waste had to go through DEP. They needed to have the okay by the department just to say that, yes, this is a good thing, and yes, you can do it. They had a very well thought-out plan for that. And so I did give the approval for them to do that. It would be rather silly to have said no, since it was something that was definitely needed for the community. And then they extended it a second time. And they did say, when they gave a report at the department head meeting, that the activity and the drop-offs have subsided.
Yeah, it might be.
Can't remember.
I did-
Okay.
Yeah, I gave you an extra copy
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
of that.
Well, this,
oh, okay, oh, all right, thank you.
okay. So now you can do your public health nurses report,
Oh, thank you.
if you don't
I have to
mind.
look at it because I don't remember it
Remember?
at this
Oh,
point.
You don't have that right at the tip of your tongue?
Right, this is August. I feel like, right, we're almost
Yeah,
in
it was a long time
October.
ago.
Yeah, it's been a long month.
Yeah.
Just so really, when you look at the communicable diseases, it looks immense. But a lot of it were single cases. Lyme was up from last month, but just slightly. But that's not unusual this time of year because people are out hiking and gardening and all those, which brings them around ticks. And hepatitis C continues to be an issue for people in the community, so it's wise to get tested. And then we also had just a few food-related, we had a salmonella, we had a campylobacter, we had a norovirus. Actually, we had 2 norovirus, which sadly makes people feel very miserable. We did have a babesiosis, which is tick-borne. It was eventually, we have had 3. One was revoked when they did some additional testing. That is also tick-borne. Unfortunately, we are seeing, along with Lyme, that there are cases where there are multiple different diseases within
Yeah.
ticks. They're, starting to,
You're real SOBs.
I know.
COVID, those are 48 new cases in August?
Yes, reported.
Okay.
We're at the point
Probably
now.
49, in fact, it's probably 50.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I didn't report mine, neither did my wife.
Right, and those are only those where they were tested by the lab. So there was certainly, and that was,
I'm all set.
and that was an increase because, prior to that, we had, much fewer cases and really started to see a resurgence. And I'll, definitely, I was going to speak to that just a teeny bit later, but
And the hepatitis C, those are all incident cases too, or were some of those ongoing?
so what happens is some of these cases are ongoing cases, some of them are newly diagnosed. What happens is that people were infected many years ago, and it isn't until 20 years later, 20, 30 years later, they start to have symptoms, go to see a physician, get tested, and they find, unfortunately. The good thing is that there are at least treatment now that can clear people of hepatitis C, and it's not as difficult of a treatment that it was, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
10 years ago. So, but we are, seeing that out there. Just fewer blood pressures. In August, Kim was busy with childbirth and a child, and so
That's a pretty good excuse.
put a hold on some blood pressure clinics. And then again, there was lots and lots of meetings. Fortunately, some of them are online. I did have Courtney, who had come to the last meeting, who was working on the shops and getting the survey. And then there was some meetings with her around discussions about different things like that. And let me see.
Is that moving forward, or are details able to be discussed?
Yes, so at this point, we're collecting data from the survey. And then in October, Courtney will be back for a day. We'll compile them, and I'll be able to have a report on the responses and the need. And then we'll look at, very specifically, the logistics for doing that, setting up, are there grants out there, and what can we do to implement it? So one of the meetings was talking with Solid Waste, and Laura, who is phenomenal at that position, does have a grant that she said she would be able to use to purchase some shops containers to help facilitate as we go forward. But then the next discussion is, okay, where are the best places to put it? Who's going to be in charge?
Right.
The nitty-gritty.
Right.
Those are the tough ones.
Right.
Those are the tough ones, yes, yes.
Yeah, the more detailed you get, tougher it gets.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And then just at the end of the month, there was a meeting, See-Click Fix, talking standard operating procedures. That was a meeting that was called by the town manager, and trying to coordinate complaints and follow-ups within the town. Because, for instance, we have our complaint sheet that we follow, Excel, but other departments do not necessarily. And so they were using the action needed reports, and there wasn't a lot of consistency. So one of the things that he asked is that if somebody calls with a complaint, that they don't leave the complaint with the department, that they go on to the town website, go to See-Click Fix 311, enter that in there, and then what we can do for our records, we can just copy and paste the details. It's a little more duplication for us, but it actually, I think, helps to capture the amount of work and complaints that are followed through by the departments that, will be tabulated and tracked. The town manager reviews all those. He also reviews how quickly we respond and follow through. But it's not a bad thing, so,
Right, and-
yep.
Yeah,
Good for him.
yeah,
So,
that's a good thing. That's
Yeah,
all
so
right.
we're trying to help the, the community and the people who call to complain to do that. And we did find a mechanism if someone does not have a computer or feel comfortable to be able to do that, that we're able to do it for them. And Heather has been instrumental. She's been wonderful doing
Concerned
that.
about that.
Awesome.
Yes.
And that concerns me, that she's going to take on an unknown amount of work.
Well,
It could be significant.
It actually, that was a concern, and we did have a discussion about that, and that she was to say if it became a lot. But in a way, we were doing most of that already as we were writing down all the information on pieces of paper and then giving it to people. So at this point, it hasn't yet. So
Okay.
Well,
I
let's
will
just-
remand her,
Yeah, let's
though.
just make sure that we keep an eye on it and don't let
Yes.
it get out of hand.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Our staff, including our director, does an incredible amount of work as it is.
That's right.
And anything that adds to that without compensation behind it just makes it trickier to navigate, so.
Sure, absolutely.
Let's, like I said, just keep an eye on
Keep
it.
an eye, absolutely.
And if there's something that we can do one way or the other, please let us know.
Absolutely,
All right.
thank you.
Is that the end of your public nurses report?
That's the end of the public nurses report.
No, it's not
Happy-
the end, but it's just
It's
that
never,
piece.
it's never the end.
Okay,
It's
I-
never the end.
Don, do you
But
have any questions?
No,
Dan?
No.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
I move that we accept the August 2023 directors, well, should it be
Public
director or
nurses
public nurses?
it's a combination of
Oh,
both,
we haven't got that way yet, probably yet.
Well,
So
we'll do
the
public nurses report.
yes.
All right. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on.
Moving on.
You done yet?
Almost, not quite. I do not have any items not anticipated by myself. How about the chair?
Just one. At the back of your packets, there are two forms that we need to
yes.
fill out, sign, and send back with Anne Marie tonight, so.
Anne Marie,
If
I
you-
did them online. Do you
Oh.
still need these?
Were they submitted to the
To-
department's town
I-
clerk for
I
one
think
in
I
HR?
submitted- I think so, and then one of them said forward it to you, and the director was going to forward it. I don't mind signing
Yes,
them, I just
not
wanted to
at,
make sure.
not at all. I mean, if you don't want to duplicate, that's not a problem. I'll just go in my 200 remaining emails, and I'll type in your name, and then I
If
can
it's
take
easier, I can
care
just
of
sign
it.
it now.
Just sign it.
Yeah. That'll take care of it.
Yeah, you're better with that online stuff than I am.
No,
that's for
no,
sure.
it's really good, and actually, I usually try to ensure that I don't leave without going through all my emails, but it's been an extraordinarily busy couple of weeks, and,
That's what I gather. You need the harassment policy as well.
Oh, yeah,
yes, please.
yeah, you can't
And
be
that
harassing
you,
people.
and that you've
Nuts.
read it so you know how you can and cannot harass me or anyone else.
Oh, that's no fun.
Anne Marie, I'm gonna stick these two,
In the folder?
In the
Yes,
folder.
actually, you
If-
know what, if you don't mind,
yeah, these are the two things that,
so I can make, we'll
If
scan them
you
and
would-
send them.
If you would scan them and send them
I'm
to
gonna
us, I would
give this
appreciate
to,
it.
if you don't mind. If you just give that to him.
It's still September, is it not?
Yes, it
Yes.
is still September.
28th.
Yeah, I got that part right.
Happy birthday to me. Okay.
Moving
That was
on?
the only thing I had, so.
Okay,
I just wanted to
No,
make
and
sure.
thank you,
You're welcome.
because I actually didn't make a note of that,
Yeah,
and.
that's fine. I did, so we're good.
So moving on to other topics of interest, I just wanted to, briefly migrant update as I can, just to let you know, as had been, reported in places that, our community is hosting families, new families that are in there. Town manager has a response team that he's called multiple departments to be able to work. He actually has it divided into sections. The first is the reception, which the assistant town manager is involved with that, on how we receive these families. I am in charge of the support team, no surprise, I'm sure. And so that, we're working in collaboration with the schools, with the YMCA, with churches, other community members. Actually have identified our team, our group, as the North Attleboro Humanitarian Response Team, or NA HEART, because when you put that down. And so there will be some information coming out from the YMCA. They are spearheading a lot of that. The town manager is pretty emphatic that he feels the state should be supporting these families and providing resources and doing that. And so he is strongly working, with the National Guard and saying, things that families may need should be requested to the National Guard if they are not able to fulfill the needs, and then they can reach back out and say, we cannot fulfill these needs if there's assistance. But there's going to be a drive that the YMCA is going to host with specific items. That's going to be on October 15th. There are also 2 registries. If there are people in the community that would like to support North Attleboro Families in Need, specifically some of these families, and there is one at Target, there's one at Walmart, and if you look under community or groups like that, it is Lenore's Pantry and a Heart, HRT. So that's all that I will say. Their kids are enrolled in school and just, working to become a productive member of the community.
Good.
So,
Good, excellent.
COVID test kits, that's the second item of interest. I still continue to have COVID test kits that we are giving out for anybody that has a need for it, and people are coming in quite a bit. I mean, the amount we've given out in the last few weeks is more than we've given out probably the entire summer. It has been that busy.
That's because it's rearing its ugly head again.
Yes, it is. And as a matter of fact, as of yesterday, we already, for September, we have 55 cases. So,
Yep.
and the last time we saw numbers like that was March, when we had 40 cases, and before that was February with 78. So I'm hoping we're not going to go back to that. But also, if people aren't aware, the President Biden did sign a thing for free COVID test kits for every household in the country. And if you go for free COVID test kits, it's through the United States Postal Service. You can go on and you can get 4 tests, not kits, 4 tests. So you'll get 2 boxes.
Yeah.
That will be mailed to you.
I ordered them this week. I ordered some this week.
I did on Monday, the first day it was available. And my thinking is the kits that we have now that we're giving out do have an expiration of November 19th. They're good for the next, almost not quite 2 months. So that I'm hoping people will get the kits, use them first, and then keep the others for a need. So, we have given, to the library. The library is a wonderful partner. They put it out so when people utilize the library, they're able to do that. So,
Do you have the shots available for flu and COVID? And
So, actually, that is, I don't have the COVID. I know, good man, right? I do not have the COVID. Vaccines, they are newly approved and out, and I believe pharmacies do have those. I don't have any of those, but
Okay.
I do have flu shots, and I'm hoping to start giving them out next week. So give me a call and come and visit. And that's, believe it or not, all I have to say.
Well,
Don, do you have anything
aces,
to add?
nothing.
Dan?
Nope.
Then I will accept the motion.
So moved to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.